Retention isn't an event. It's a cycle. It works like a monthly endurance game in which the mind sets predictable traps at each phase. When you understand the terrain before you step onto it, you cut down impulsive decisions and turn the process into strategy. The thesis is simple. Every month, 5 risks return with different faces, and anyone who doesn't recognize them falls despite good intentions. Instead of fighting blind, you operate with a map that anticipates the early euphoria curve, the rise of environmental triggers, social energy leaks, unstructured training, and the nighttime window of highest vulnerability. Awareness of these patterns organizes the month, lowers friction in daily choices, and preserves energy for what matters. You were not born apathetic, drained, or confused. Somewhere along the way, your energy was bargained for quick dopamine, your focus fractured, and your masculine essence diluted. Today, you reclaim the charge. Welcome to Gods of Semen, a sanctuary for men who choose deep spirituality and disciplined transformation through semen retention. In this video, we open a precise monthly map of traps, 5 predictable dangers that emerge in each cycle, and the practical antidotes that turn urges into fuel. Friction design, safe time windows, a transmutation circuit for your libido, and a post-relapse protocol that ends the spiral before it starts. If you felt the anxiety, the compulsions, the late-night negotiations with your weaker self, understand this isn't suppression, it's alchemy, redirecting your life force into purpose, building standards that cannot be bribed by novelty, becoming the man who no longer needs the old habit to feel alive. Stay with me until the end, because I will reveal hidden keys you can apply tonight to protect the 22-1 window, survive the day 7 euphoria trap, and carry your streak clean through months 3, 4, 5, and 6 without losing your soul to pride or self-sabotage. If this speaks to you, subscribe now and ring the bell. This channel is not entertainment. It's an initiatory path where each episode builds the next. Help us reach 25,000 brothers in this movement, so every man who's ready can step out of numbness and into mastery, not as spectators of change, but as its architects. The commitment here is to deliver practical clarity. By the end of the next chapters, you'll have a prevention checklist for 3 months or more, capable of reducing recurring relapses. The goal isn't to promise magic results, but to provide a system. Simple rules for the first 72 hours, a dopamine menu with clean alternatives, a friction design that makes the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy, nighttime rituals that shield the critical window, and an 80-20 training structure that stabilizes mood without provoking compensation. The advantage of this map is its replicability. You don't rely on variable motivation. You rely on a routine design that works on good days and bad days. The psychological basis explains why disciplined men slip. The brain is a prediction machine that seeks novelty and quick reward. When you cut a habit that delivered instant dopamine, the mind tries to restore balance by offering shortcuts, rationalizations that look like control, micro-escapes in borderline content, intensifying work as compensation, or mining social stimuli to reactivate the circuit. If you don't see this dynamic, you interpret the urge as a character flaw, when it's really a reward system trying to return to baseline. That's why the map breaks the month into predictable milestones, neutralizes triggers before they become narrative, and directs libido toward productive targets. The focus isn't to suppress desire, but to transmute attention. This content is educational and behavioral in nature. It does not replace medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. If you have clinical, emotional, or behavioral conditions that require specialized support, seek qualified help. The first month feels like ignition. Energy spikes, attention sharpens, and the sense of control seems absolute. That same surge hides the traps. The pattern is reliable. Early euphoria, environmental cues you used to ignore, social drift, overzealous training, and the night window where everything unravels. Treat this month as a field operation with fixed positions to defend, not as a victory lap. The 7-day confidence high is the first fault line. Around days 5 to 8, novelty peaks and the mind concludes the problem is solved. That conclusion loosens boundaries. You skip the small safeguards because urges feel distant, and precisely then, the nervous system starts bargaining. Euphoria is not proof of stability. It is a weather pattern. A stable system stands unchanged in both sun and storm. Mark day 7 on your calendar and pre-decide that nothing changes in your protocol, no matter how good you feel. Environmental triggers follow familiar routes. The mind is predictive. When you walk the same digital and physical paths, it loads the old loop before you notice. Certain apps at certain hours, the same chair, the same lighting, a shower without a plan afterward, even idle scrolling after lunch. Each becomes a cue that narrows attention toward old behavior. You don't fight cues with willpower alone. You reroute. Change the chair you use at night. Move the phone charger to another room. Shift your post-work window outdoors for 10 minutes. Replace evening scrolling with a pre-downloaded long-form audio. Small reroutes collapse big loops. Social energy leakage looks productive from the outside. More eye contact, more attention, more messages. Without a container, it becomes an endless flirt with distraction. Minor flirting and infinite feeds blend novelty with ego and siphon the same energy you intended to transmute. Define an upper limit for social media minutes per day and a strict purpose. Publish, reply to essentials, exit. If you want genuine connection, schedule it offline and finite. Attraction that does not serve your mission is just expensive noise. Unstructured training is another elegant trap. You ride the new energy into maximal sessions, stack intensity without progression, and the nervous system demands compensation through quick dopamine later. The fix is to train like a strategist, not a hero. Use an 80-20 template, 2 to 3 compound lifts per session, 3 sessions per week. Focus on form and progressive overload. Finish before you crave more. Complement with 2 moderate cardio days of 20 to 30 minutes. Leave the gym with fuel in the tank. That leftover capacity stabilizes mood instead of starting a hunt for stimulation at night. Night is where most streaks break. Between 22 on and 01, decision fatigue peaks, prefrontal control dips, and the day's micro-promises collide with unstructured time. Treat this window as protected airspace. The mind will try to negotiate just 5 minutes, because 5 minutes is how the old loop enters. You don't negotiate at night. You execute a script. The room cools, lights dim. Last screen happens an hour before bed, and you follow a fixed sequence that ends in sleep without detours. Anchor the month with practical antidotes. The 72-hour rule is your first firewall. When urges spike, commit only to the next 3 days, not to eternity. Short horizons prevent the brain from dramatizing the future. Build a dopamine menu on paper, frictionless, clean options that shift state in 2 to 10 minutes. 10 push-ups and a cold face rinse, a brisk block-length walk, a kettlebell swing ladder, a breathing drill of 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out for 3 minutes, a single set of plank to fatigue, a shower that ends cold for 30 seconds. Choose, do, move on. Design friction where it matters. Install blockers on the specific apps and sites that lead to the loop. Put the master password in the custody of a trusted person for 30 days. Remove private mode access on your main browser. Set your phone to grayscale in the evening, and keep the device outside the bedroom. These moves replace moment-of-urge debates with structural absence of options. You are not weaker for using barriers. You are prudent for making the wrong path inconvenient. Close the day with a bedtime ritual that shuts down thinking in layers. Write 3 lines. What went well? Where tension rose? What you'll do differently tomorrow? Prepare the next day's close and training plan. Read 5 pages of a single non-stimulating book. Stretch hips and thoracic spine for 5 minutes. Lights out at the same time regardless of outcomes. Routine is mercy for a tired brain. Hold the training line with 80-20 discipline. 3 strength sessions per week anchored on squats or deadlifts, presses, pulls, kept under an hour. 2 cardio days at a pace where you can still speak. No maximal tests, no ego PRs, no late-night lifts. The goal is nervous system balance, not hero stories. Month 1 is not about proving hardness. It is about proving consistency. Predict the 7-day euphoria and refuse to alter the plan. Break old loops by altering routes and environments. Cork the social leaks with purpose and limits. Train with structure that quiets the body rather than whipping it. Treat 22 runners to Oro 1 or Iguanaro as sacred. When the surge hits, shrink the horizon to 72 hours. Pick from your dopamine menu and act before the mind has time to argue. The second month trades fireworks for weather patterns. Energy stabilizes, novelty fades, and a quieter enemy arrives. Comfort with the new baseline. Without obvious chaos, the mind looks for reasons to cash out a little. The mission is to see small drift early and correct course with minimal force. Motivation plateaus when the system stops rewarding you with visible change. The first month gave contrast. The second offers consistency. The brain mistakes steady for stagnant and starts whispering about a treat. You counter by switching the scoreboard. Replace outcome goals with process goals and mission metrics. Did you run your morning block without interruption? Train your 3 strength sessions? Keep the night window protected? Log 1 meaningful creative set? And do your weekly reflection. Check 5 boxes per day and you win the day regardless of mood. Momentum is built from tasks that do not require permission from motivation. Noble rationalizations are the most charming traps. I deserve a break. Just today I'll control it consciously. Each sounds adult and reasonable, which is why they bypass your alarms. You preempt them with a rule that lives outside mood. If it's a good idea, it will also be a good idea tomorrow morning. Defer every impulse decision to daytime after food and sunlight, and only then decide with your plan in front of you. Add a single sentence in your journal at night when urges rise. Tonight, my only job is to end the day clean. By narrowing responsibility, you prevent the mind from negotiating 1,000 exceptions. Stored sex, the code of raw masculine energy. If you're ready for a definitive turn, dive into Stored Sex, the code of raw masculine energy. 170 plus pages across 8 modules with activation phrases, spiritual practices, and retention rituals that convert desire into direction, urgency into presence, and impulse into purpose. It's masculine spiritual engineering, from the dark room to high-level decisions, with clear protocols to seal the night window, rewire triggers, transmute libido into creative work, and consolidate an identity that does not negotiate its limits. Get yours via the link in the description bar pinned comment. And if you're among the first 10 buyers, unlock the exclusive promotion reserved for men who choose mastery over comfort. Overwork and overfocus disguise themselves as excellence. You compress more output into fewer hours, skip recovery, and carry a simmering stress that easily sexualizes into a search for relief. Build a mental deload week every 4 weeks. Keep the same work blocks but trim intensity by 20%. Protect a longer walk outdoors at midday, and end 2 nights with an early shutdown. Maintain the skeleton of discipline while lowering cognitive load. The body treats that as safety, and cravings lose urgency because the system is not hunting release. Toxic comparison thrives in month 2 because you start looking sideways to measure progress. Forums and feeds magnify extremes. People reporting superhuman changes or dramatic failures. Both distort your expectation and shift your attention from execution to narrative. Institute digital pruning. Unfollow accounts that trigger any of the 3 C's: craving, cynicism, or compulsive scrolling. Subscribe only to long-form sources you intentionally consume on a schedule. Replace passive lurking with active logging. Your weekly review summarizes training, sleep, creative output, and energy notes in 5 bullet points. Your reality outperforms any comparison when it is tracked. The ghost habit reappears through micro-escapes. You don't cross explicit lines, you hover near them. Borderline content, suggestive thumbnails, edgy jokes, or memory loops about past experiences. Ghost habits rebuild the neural associations that the first month dissolved. Treat borderline as breach. Run a 2-minute pivot the second you notice a slide. Stand, hydrate, reset posture, step outside, or do a short breathing cadence. 4 seconds inhale, 6 seconds exhale, for 20 cycles. Name the trigger in 1 line, close the tab or walk away, and immediately occupy the hands with a simple task that moves your day forward. Replacement beats rumination. Anchor month 2 with practical antidotes that minimize effort and maximize consistency. Start with a mental deload week at the end of week 4. Lighten training volume by 20 to 30%. Keep movement daily, and schedule 2 deliberate early nights. Define process goals that cannot be negotiated. The 5 daily boxes and the 2 non-negotiable windows. Deep morning block protected, night routine sealed. Add an accountability partner with clear rules. You message a single daily check-in with yes/no on your 5 boxes, and you notify within 15 minutes if you feel at risk. No lectures, only confirmation, and a pre-agreed action like a call or a walk. Complete digital pruning before the 2nd month ends. Remove apps that exist only for novelty hits. Restrict notifications to time-boxed windows, and store your phone outside the workspace during deep work. On desktop, whitelist only the sites you need for work and study. When you must use platforms with triggers, use them through a secondary browser profile with strict extensions and a 15-minute timer. You are not trying to be superhuman. You are trying to be unavailable to the wrong stimuli. Month 2 rewards men who value boring excellence. When motivation dips, you switch scoreboards to process. When the mind crafts noble stories, you delay decisions to daylight and let the rule decide. When overwork creeps in, you deload the mind, not the mission. When comparison poisons perspective, you prune inputs and elevate your own log as the standard. When ghost habits whisper, you pivot in 2 minutes and do something your future self can count. The plateau is not a verdict. It is a test of whether you can keep walking without applause. Month 3 introduces external pressure. The system has adjusted, energy is steadier, and the world begins to notice. Attention increases, invitations expand, boundaries are tested in subtle and public ways. The task is to convert visibility into discipline rather than drift. Validation arrives first and looks harmless. More eye contact, compliments on presence, extra messages, opportunities that were quiet before. Validation is not the enemy. The hidden danger is linking your streak to external feedback. When your identity leans on reactions, you start performing for approval and testing limits to harvest more of it. Redirect attention back to mission signals only you measure. Deep work blocks completed, pages written, clients served, sets lifted with form, hours slept. When recognition appears, let it pass through you without adjustments to protocol. Appreciation is accepted, behavior remains unchanged. The end of quarter effect appears as a narrative device. 3 months feels like a season finale, and the mind frames the next choice as a celebration or a test of control. I proved I can do it. Now I can play with the rules. Treat this as just another day inside a long mission. Write a single sentence on the morning of day 90 and pin it where you see it. Nothing special is happening today. Milestones are for measurement, not for exceptions. If you want to celebrate, schedule a clean reward that builds the next cycle. New shoes for training, a short trip outdoors, a book you will actually read. Reward without eroding the frame. Status signaling grows as people reflect back a stronger presence. You may notice posture changing, voice deepening, a calmer gaze. Pride can quietly replace purpose, and vanity starts to dictate choices. The check is simple. Status is what others infer. Standards are what you uphold. Replace peacocking with proof. Show up on time. Keep your word on small tasks. Train when you said you would. Speak less and deliver more. The aura of a man on mission is built from consistency, not performance. Alcohol and long nights compress several risks at once. Inhibition drops, sleep debt rises, and the prefrontal brakes that carried you through hard windows loosen. If you choose to drink, impose a boundary that survives the room. Decide your maximum units before you leave home and text the number to your accountability partner. Alternate each drink with water, stop 1 hour before your planned exit, and never combine alcohol with late screens. Prefer venues with fixed end times over open-ended nights. The goal is not asceticism. It is preserving your next morning's control. Micro broken promises accumulate into a relapse, the same way tiny deposits grow principal. You say you will leave at midnight, and it becomes 1. You say 1 episode and it becomes 3. You say just to check messages and you scroll for 40 minutes. Each fracture lowers trust in your word and raises the probability of a bigger breach. Rebuild integrity with a visible ledger. Keep a small card in your pocket and track 3 micro-promises per day. Arrival time, training window, device curfew. Place a check mark when kept and a dash when missed. The aim is not perfection but trend. By week's end, you want more checks than dashes and a note on what improved the ratio. Anchor month 3 with practical antidotes that reduce social drag without isolating you. Create rules of exit before you enter the event. Decide the window you will attend, the latest time you will leave, and the next action after leaving. Tell 1 person who will be there and 1 person who will not. Pre-commit to a ride or alarm that triggers the exit. When the time arrives, you leave without debate. Pre-commitments are agreements with your rested self that protect you from your tired self. Set explicit limits with alcohol that you do not renegotiate in the moment. 2-unit cap, water between drinks, food before arrival, no shots, no drinking when sleep the night before was short. Tie the limit to a metric you care about, like next day training quality. If your lift performance or morning HRV drops below your baseline after a night out, you tighten the rule for the next 30 days. Feedback loops make boundaries intelligent rather than moralistic. The book Alchemy of the Gods is a rite of passage for men who refuse to remain divided by invisible addictions and mental noise. Written as a tactical grimoire, it ignites the serpentine fire of Kundalini to unlock power, discipline, and vision. It pours the crystalline oil, the sacred oil that awakens spiritual memory and strategic clarity, through the corridors of the mind, and it leads to spiritual liberation through objective practices, not superstition. Each chapter is an activation seal: maps, operational mantras, breathwork, transmutation keys, and focus protocols that reposition your energy on the axis of purpose. Accessible on every front: print to underline and ritualize, digital for frictionless consulting, audiobook to program your mind while you move. Alchemy of the Gods is not just reading, it is a portal. Enter via the link in the description, pinned comment, and cross the threshold with intention. But before anything else, I have news you didn't expect. Introducing the audiobook Semen Retention Success Path. 2 focused hours, 6 deep themes on semen retention that operate as the definitive key to unshakable focus, sustained strength, and spiritual unlocking. You receive a clear system, trigger mapping, daily transmutation, friction design, a shielded night window, an 80-20 training pattern, and a post-relapse protocol. Join today and secure a bonus: 30% off the ebook, The Art of Semen Retention for Men, 20+ practical pages, ready to print and execute on your very next night. Access via the link in the description, pinned comment, and consolidate your path. If you want to walk further with us, become a channel member, get early access, priority responses, and participate directly in the mission, forming a brotherhood of conscious, operational men. Use pre-commitments in private life as well. If you are dating, communicate boundaries early and positively. You do not argue with your values at midnight. You agree on them at noon. Create environment constraints that make good behavior default. Fewer private, late-night settings, more active daytime plans, clear cutoffs for devices. You are not resisting temptation so much as designing it out of the critical windows. Keep a commitment journal that turns month 3 into a contract. Each morning, write your 3 non-negotiables: protected deep work block, training or deliberate movement, night routine with device cutoff. Each evening, write 3 lines only. Did I keep my exits? Did I keep my drink limit or abstain? Did I keep my micro promises? If any answer is no, write the smallest change that would have turned it into a yes. Implement that change the next day without commentary. The page becomes your quiet mentor. Month 3 is a social audit. Validation must not set your course. Milestones must not rewrite your rules. Status must not replace standards. Nights out must be bounded by exits and limits that survive the mood of the moment. Micro-promises must be tracked until your word regains weight. With rules of exit, alcohol boundaries, pre-commitments, and a commitment journal, you convert external pressure into internal proof. The world can pull, your structure holds. The difference between streaks that survive pressure and those that break is not willpower, but a reliable field system. This checklist turns vague intention into executable steps that hold under fatigue, stress, and boredom. You do not rise to the level of your goals at 11:30 p.m. You fall to the level of your systems. Build the system now and let it run on days when you do not. Start with a trigger map that removes guesswork. List 3 columns on paper: places, times, and patterns. Under places, note the exact rooms, chairs, and device locations where slips have happened. Under times, mark the hot windows when your control dips, especially late evening and post-lunch drift. Under patterns, write the prelude behaviors that always precede trouble, like doom scrolling after work, showers without a post-shower plan, staying in bed with the phone upon waking, or browsing alone at night. For each entry, assign a gold standard alternative: a different chair at night, phone charging in another room, an outdoor reset walk after work, a post-shower task like laying out clothes and making tea. The trigger map is not a diary. It is a circuit diagram that tells you where to cut power and where to reroute flow. Apply friction design to make the wrong path slow and the right path fast. Install blockers on the precise sites and apps that lead you to old loops, and put the master password with a trusted person for 30 days. Remove private browsing and disable app stores at night. Move entertainment apps off your home screen. Place work, study, and reading apps where your thumb lands. On desktop, create a clean user profile with a whitelist and use it for deep work only. Put a timer cube or a simple kitchen timer on your desk, so a 30-minute focus block is one flip away. Preload frictionless good choices: an offline audiobook for evenings, a printed chapter beside the bed, a kettlebell or resistance band visible in your living area. Friction is strategy, not shame. It converts debates into defaults. Protect safe time windows where attention is hardest to steal. Carve a deep morning block before reactive tasks, even if it is just 45 minutes. No notifications, one priority, one finish line. In the evening, run a protected night routine that begins at a fixed hour, not when you feel like it. Lights drop, screens end, room cools, and the last actions are physical and simple. Lay out tomorrow's clothes. Note a single target for the morning. Read slow pages. Safe time is scaffolding for your prefrontal cortex. It is the reason you wake primed and reach bed intact. Build a transmutation circuit so libido always has somewhere to go. Combine training, creative work, and study into a daily or near-daily rhythm that outputs tangible progress. Think in blocks rather than moods. Strength or skill practice for 40 to 60 minutes, then a creative set where you produce a page, a prototype, or a deliverable, then a study segment that pushes a domain you care about. Keep the circuit modest and repeatable. The point is not intensity, it is redirection. When the nervous system expects constructive outlets at set hours, urges become fuel instead of friction. Use the 2-minute rule as your emergency drill. When an urge spikes, do not argue with it. Start a physical action that changes state for 120 seconds. Cold water on the face, breath cadence of 4 seconds in and 6 seconds out, a brisk walk to the end of the block and back, a single set of push-ups or a plank to honest effort, tidying one small area with speed. Label the trigger in a single sentence, what, where, and when, then return to the next structured task on your plan. 2 minutes is short enough to begin without resistance and long enough to let the wave pass. Carry a post-relapse protocol that is so simple you can run it even when disappointed. 4 steps, always the same. First, record the trigger, state, and time in one line. Data ends the story's drama. Second, isolate the event. Do not rewrite your identity. Third, clean the environment by clearing tabs, removing any saved media, and resetting blockers or passwords if they were bypassed. Fourth, re-enter within 24 hours with one micro-win scheduled before 10 a.m. A training session finished, a deliverable shipped, or a study block completed. If sleep is compromised, prioritize an early night and resume the protocol the following morning. You are not erasing the past. You are preventing one slip from becoming a spiral. Run this checklist weekly so it remains a living system. Update the trigger map with any new pattern you notice. Tighten or relax friction design based on results, not pride. Guard safe time as if it were an appointment with someone you cannot afford to disappoint. Keep the transmutation circuit simple enough that you can execute it on low motivation days. Practice the 2-minute rule until your body starts it before your mind debates it. Treat the post-relapse protocol as muscle memory, not punishment. A system that is visible, repeatable, and boring will beat talent, emotion, and intention over months. When the structure holds, the streak becomes a byproduct, not a battle. The man you've been so far is comfortable in the same room where your vices keep you. The man you came here to find demands silence, standards, and a vow with your own energy. There is no noise here, only clean urgency. Either you remain where you are or you initiate transfiguration. Seal the learning, leave a like, accept the journey, subscribe, and activate the bell. Next step of the right. Watch the recommended video and execute the first key today.